Hello. In a earlier session regarding this milling operations, we have discussed about a few of the milling operations like planar slab milling, end milling, and slat milling operations. Next, we have few more milling operations. That is, we'll begin with the angular milling first. So let us see what is this angular milling and how it will be done. Angular milling or angle milling is a milling of flat surfaces which are neither parallel nor perpendicular to the axis of the milling cutter. So we can take a simple diagram. This is the arbor and this is a cutter which is mounted on this arbor, and this is the axis of this cutter. So we have two surfaces. You can see this is one surface and this is another surface. These two surfaces are to be milled, and these two surfaces neither parallel to this axis of this cutter nor perpendicular to the axis of the cutter. And whenever you want to machine these kind of surfaces, you will go for this angular milling. Similarly, you can take this dovetail joint where you can see that these two surfaces are, here axis of this cutter is perpendicular, that is vertical, and in this case these two surfaces are neither parallel to this nor perpendicular to this, and these cases will be subjected to machining operation by using this angular milling. A single angle milling cutter is used for angular surfaces such as chamfers, serrations and grooves. I'm machining or milling some grooves or some making of chamfers, this single milling angle cutter will be used. And milling a dovetail is typical example of angular milling. Yes, this is a dovetail. Now you can see the slot. This is the best example for angular milling. Yes, these two surfaces you can see clearly is inclined to this cutter axis, and this is a typical example for angular milling. So next we will move to the straddle milling. Here in case of straddle milling, it will be used to mill the two parallel surfaces. Yes, this is the one surface and this is another surface, and these two surfaces can be milled by using this straddle milling operation. A group of spacers is mounted in between the two side and face milling cutters on the spindle arbor as shown in the figure. These two are called as side and face milling cutters. You can mill this side as well as you can mill the face here, side and face milling cutters, and these two are separated by, you can see here, called as spacers, certain parts spacers. Number of spacers here will be depending on the distance between these two cutters. So if the distance goes on increases, then we need to place more number of spacers in between these two. You can see this diagram, a workpiece, and this surface will be subjected to milling operations. You can see that. For that we have two cutters here, and these two are separated by this much of distance, and we'll place the spacers here in order to maintain the perfect gap between these two milling cutters. Milling of two surfaces parallel to each other at a given distance. Yes, the surfaces which are parallel to one another can be milled by using this straddle milling. So next let us move to the next type of operation. It is gang milling. Here in the gang milling, this milling is similar to that of straddle milling. That is, here that will make use of more number of milling cutters together, and then the workpiece will be subjected to more number of operations at the same time. You can see here, gang milling is horizontal milling operation that utilizes three or more milling cutters grouped together for milling of a complex surface in one pass, that is, at a time, more than three or more milling cutters. You can see this simple diagram. We have one cutter here, and these are three plain milling cutter and two side and end face milling cutters. Total 5 milling cutters will be grouped together, and that will be used to mill a single workpiece at a time, and that is called as gang milling. Here also you can see in this workpiece we have this angular milling here and face milling here, planar slab milling here. So everything will be done at a single pass or at the same time. So that is called as gang milling. As illustrated in the figure, different type and size of cutters should be selected for achieving the desired profile on the workpiece. So based on the desired profile, we will select the different types of cutters, and we will subject the workpiece for machining operation. And that process is called as gang milling. Next we have form milling here. Form milling is a process of machining special contours composed of curves and straight lines, or entirely curves at a single cut. Yes, this type of shapes are slots which are having some curved shapes, and those curved shaped slots can be machined with the help of this form milling. Yes, this diagram is enough for form milling. This don't write this 3D diagram. This is enough to explain that form milling. This is done with the form milling cutters shaped to the contour to be cut. And here one thing is, this shape of this milling cutter will be shape of the contour which is to be machined. If it is of concave shape, then definitely this will be in the same shape as that of that shape which is to be machined. Similarly, you can see here, if this surface has to be milled or machined, you can see that shape of that cutters. This should be same as that of shape of this object which is to be machined. That is form milling. So these are all the remaining 4 operations in the milling part. And one more thing is, in a milling operation, in a syllabus, they have mentioned that working of horizontal and vertical axis milling machine. Horizontal axis milling machine I have showed in the previous class itself. I will show you once again. This is the horizontal axis milling machine or horizontal milling machine. One thing is, this is the cutter, you can see there, they have clearly given, and this is the arbor on which this cutter will be mounted. So here the axis of the cutter will be horizontal, so the name is horizontal milling machine. Whereas in case of vertical milling machine, you can see there, this is the vertical milling machine, and this is the cutter which is mounted here, and you can see that this is the axis of this cutter. Axis of the cutter here, it is vertical, so the name is here vertical milling machine. Here in this case, no arbor and all required. Here this cutter will be fixed in a spindle. So this is vertical milling machine. They have given a working principle of horizontal milling machine and vertical milling machine, and in the end of this part they have given there is no sketch of machine tools, but one time they have asked the working principle of this milling machine with a neat sketch. So please practice this diagram also. So but here one thing to remember is, this axis of this cutter is vertical in case of vertical milling machine. Here we will make use of arbor, and cutter will be mounted on the arbor, thereby which axis of the cutter here will be horizontal. This is horizontal milling machine, and this will be vertical milling machine. So this is all regarding the remaining parts or the concepts which I have left out in the milling part. And next thing is, I have left out one more concept in that lathe actually, which is very important. That is lathe machine specifications. So specification, in the sense, you all know that this will tells you that information about how that device has been made, or how that device has been designed, or how that device has been built. That is called a specification. Here we will discuss about lathe machine specification. So in this, whenever you consider a lathe, we need to check, or whenever you're going to purchase that lathe machine for industrial application, there they will check some certain specification. You can take your simple example of whenever you people going to purchase your two-wheeler or a car. First, let us, we will start with what is the capacity cc of that engine, and what is the mileage, like what is the power, what is the torque can be produced. Everything you will check. What is that? That is all the specification. Similarly, here in case of lathe, we have certain specifications we need to discuss about. One thing is, the first important thing is, you can see that this is the first one, that is overall length of bed. Yes, this is the overall length of bed will tells you the total length of the lathe machine. That is the first specification, that is overall length of the bed will tells you total length of the lathe. And next is this one, that is distance between the center, or even you can call this as the length of the workpiece. We can fix here. This is headstock, and this is headstock, and this will be work holding devices. Jaw, 4-jaw chuck, 3-jaw chuck can be made use here, and tailstock, this is for the support here. So this is the distance between these two centers. This can also be called as live center, and this thing can be called as dead center. So this is the distance between two centers here. Next, after that, this is the second part. Next is swing of the workpiece over lathe bed. Here you can see that this will tell you this much. This is the swing of the workpiece over lathe bed, or you can say the diameter of the workpiece which can swing over this lathe bed. This is the next specification. This is this distance. And next is swing of the workpiece over the gap in the bed. This is a lathe bed. There will be some gap in that lathe bed, and if they fix the workpiece here, you can maximum diameter of workpiece can be fixed here actually, where we'll be having some gap here. So this is swing of the workpiece over gap in the lathe bed. And next and the final one is this one, swing over the carriage. So the carriage assembly will be somewhat bit higher there, so we can fix only the smaller diameter workpiece here, and this is swing over the carriage. These 5 terms you need to write whenever they ask for lathe specification. First, you just write what is the specification. Specification is a thing which tells you the information about how the device has been built or how the device has been made. And here, whenever you go for lathe specification, first important thing is overall length of the bed. It will tells you total length of the lathe. Next is distance between the center. That means distance between the live center and dead center. That is, it will tells you the length of the workpiece which can be fixed between these two centers, right? And then after that we have this swing of the workpiece over the bed. This is the most important. It will tells you the diameter of the workpiece. We can maximum diameter of the workpiece which can be made use here. If it exceeds the diameter, then you cannot fix between these two because it won't rotate. It will get stuck. It will not rotate freely. You all know that in that lathe operation, that workpiece has to rotate at higher speeds there. So it will tells you the maximum diameter of the workpiece which can be machined in case of this lathe. And here again, this is the swing of the workpiece over the gap in the bed. Here there will be some gap in this lathe bed actually. This the entire thing is lathe bed. There will be gap in the lathe bed. Even whenever there is gap, here we can fix that workpiece even somewhat of larger diameter than here actually. So because we have some gap here. So here this will tells you swing of the workpiece over the gap in the bed. And next thing here, it is here if you want to fix this thing here, that then means if it's a very longer workpiece, then definitely we can fix that workpiece we can make use here is of very smaller diameter when compared to these two diameters, because there will be carriage here. So where we cannot fix that larger diameter workpiece here, and you can see that this is a swing over the carriage. And all these are 5 important specification of the lathe. Please remember that whenever they ask for the lathe specification, you need to write this simple diagram. If you don't want to show in this gap in the bed, lathe bed and all those things, no problem. What you need to show is first one, that is overall length of the bed. And next is distance between this live center and dead center. Next is this thing, swing of the workpiece over the lathe bed. Next, swing of the workpiece over the gap in the bed, swing over the carriage. You need to show these 5 specifications on this diagram and then write one by one. Overall length of the bed, it will tells you total length of the length. Distance between centers, it will tells you the length of the workpiece we can fix bit in the lathe, or it will tells you the distance between live center and dead center. Swing of the workpiece over the lathe bed. When I fix that workpiece here, it will tells you it will tells you that maximum diameter of the workpiece we can fix in this lathe and the lathe bed. And here whenever you fix the workpiece here, it will tell this is the swing of the workpiece over the gap in the bed tells you maximum diameter of the workpiece we can fix here in this case. And then if it is of longer workpieces, then here we can only make use of smaller diameter workpiece here because there will be carriage and all. We cannot fix a bigger diameter workpieces there. So it will tells you the diameter, maximum diameter of the workpiece we can fix over this between these two centers. And these are the 5 specifications. Please go through this. These are very easy to remember. If you remember this diagram, then you can write all the explanation of all these parameters very easily. This is regarding lathe specification. Yes, I think I have covered all the concepts under that milling and lathe. Yes, this is enough, I guess.